Hello everyone, welcome back or welcome to my channel. For today's video, I'm going to show you how to make a chain. This is going to be the second video of my Absolute Beginners series. The very first video, I showed you how to make a slip knot, and for this video, we're doing a chain, which is going to be worked after we make the slip knot. I will show you how to do this in this video as well, but I have a better tutorial that I did before this that I will leave either linked in the description or in the little icon at the top if I can do that. Anyway, let's go ahead and begin. So the first thing that we're going to do is we are going to make our slip knot, which is going to be the base of almost every project. So what we're going to do is, like I said in the last video, is we're going to first take the end of our yarn, and we have our working yarn facing this way. What we're going to do is we're going to take this yarn, the end of it, we're going to pull it, and we're going to wrap it around like that until you have this little circle like this. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take our thumb and our index finger and our left hand. We're going to use our left hand to pick this loop up a little. We're going to take these two fingers and put them in that loop like so. Then we're going to take these two fingers and we're going to grab the working yarn like so. And when we grab it, we're going to grab the smaller strand of yarn at the top, and we're going to pull the yarn that we have pinched through. And we're going to keep pulling until we have this little knot form, and there we have our slip knot. And now we're going to go ahead and move on to our chain, which is what this video is about. So what we're going to do is we're going to grab our hook. I'm using a 7.0 millimeter crochet hook. I'm using a bigger hook for this crochet tutorial because I feel like the bigger hooks are easier to see with what we're working with. So that's my reasoning for using this. So what we're going to do now is we are going to take what we just made and we are going to pull it so the loop tightens. Then we're going to take our hook, we're going to put that hook into the loop that we just made, and then we're going to pull until it's snug on our hook. And what I mean by snug is that it moves around comfortably on our hook. We don't want it to be too tight because then our chain is going to be very hard to make and it's going to be very hard to work into. I do also want to say that when we crochet, how we hold our yarn is very important, because if we don't have a good grip on our yarn, then it's going to be very hard to maneuver. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how we make the chain, and then I will show you how I hold my yarn, and then I'll show you how to make the chain again. So to make the chain, we have this loop on our hook, and then we have our working yarn over here. And what we do is we take our hook, we bring it underneath our working yarn, like so, and then we turn our hook around, and then we take that yarn that we have gripping on our hook, and we slowly pull it through. And that's how we make a chain. I'm going to show you a few times. So we have our yarn on our hook, and then we have our working yarn. We take our hook, we bring it down, grab our yarn, turn our hook downward, and pull it through. Now we have two chains on our hook. Okay, again, and as we make the chain, we can hold a little higher, which I will show you in more detail in just a second. So we take our hook, we bring it underneath our working yarn, like so, turn our hook downwards, and pull it through. And that's how we make a chain. And now I'm going to show you how I hold my yarn specifically, which is arguably the hardest part of crocheting, because if you don't have a good grip on your yarn and your grip is too tight or your yarn is not moving comfortably, then it makes crocheting a lot more frustrating. So I will show you how I do that right now. Okay, so we are starting with our slip knot again, and we're going to take our hook and we're just going to put it in like I said before, and then we're just going to pull on it so the slip knot is snug on our hook. And now we're going to hold our yarn properly, or at least the way that I hold it. So what I like to do is I like to take my middle finger and my thumb, and I like to hold on to the little knot that we made in our slip knot. So when we just make our slip knot and we put it on our hook, I like to take my middle finger and my thumb and I like to hold it down so it's not moving around, because if we don't hold it and we're just holding the working end, when we wrap our yarn around our hook, it's just gonna swing everything over and it's gonna be really frustrating. So we take our middle finger and our thumb and we hold it down like this. So I have my middle finger and my thumb and I'm holding it down, and you can see how my index finger of my left hand is holding on to the yarn. I'm not gripping it too tight, because if I grip it too tight, then when I grab my yarn, I'm not going to be able to pull it through and it's going to be very tight. I have it very loosely holding it so that when I do pull it and I keep pulling my yarn, it's very comfortably pulling through this, this part where my index finger is holding it. So again, we're going to start with our slip knot. Once we have our slip knot, we take our hook, put our hook through that slip knot. Then we take our index finger, we hold our yarn, the working yarn, like so. Then we take our middle finger and our thumb and we hold it where the knot of our slip knot is, like so. And that is how I hold my yarn. And now we're going to go straight into the chains again. So now that we're holding our yarn the way that we do, we are going to take our hook and we are going to take that hook and we're going to bring it underneath our working yarn, like so. And then we are going to turn our hook downwards, like this. And we're going to slowly pull this yarn through the loop that's already on our hook, like so. And now that we have our first chain, you know how we have our thumb and our middle finger holding this knot? Because this has gained some length, what we can do is we can move our thumb and our our thumb and our middle finger, and we can move it up to the first chain. So now we're holding it at our first chain instead of the knot. It just makes the gripping a little easier. And now we're going to do our second chain. We're going to take our hook again. We're going to take this hook, bring it underneath our yarn, and then we're going to turn our hook downwards, and then we're going to pull it through. And again, moving our thumb and our middle finger up so we have a better grip. We're going to do it again for our chain number 3. Take our hook, bring it underneath our working yarn, turn our hook downwards, and pull it through the loop that's already on our hook. Move our thumb and our middle finger up, take our hook, bring it underneath our working yarn, turn our hook downwards, and pull it through. Okay, a few more times. Move your thumb and your middle finger up. We're going to take our hook, bring it underneath our yarn, turn our hook downwards, and pull it through. And that's how you make your chain. As you can see, every time we make a new chain, we can move our thumb and our middle finger up so we keep having our firm grip on our work, because if we keep our thumb and our middle finger down here, then when we're working on it, it's a little too loosey-goosey. So you want to constantly be moving up to where you can have the firmest or the most constructive grip on your work. So we're going to keep our thumb and our middle finger here, And again, our index finger is going to stay curved, holding our yarn. And at first, I do want to say at first it feels really weird and sometimes tiring when you're holding your yarn like this, especially if you are a new beginner to crocheting. And ever so often you sort of have to move your hand around, stretch it, and that is completely normal. I've been crocheting for almost, I think, over a decade. And when I first started, that's what I used to do. So I would say it's completely normal. It feels a little funky at first, but over time you get used to it. So that's how we make our chain. I'm going to do a few more and then I will snip and we will move from there. So again, middle finger and your thumb, holding it on the last chain that we made. We're going to take our hook, we're going to bring it underneath our working yarn, move your hook downwards, and pull it through. Moving your thumb and your middle finger up, take your hook, bring it underneath our working yarn, turn your hook downwards, and pull it through. Move your thumb and your middle finger up, take your hook, bring it underneath the working yarn, turn your hook downwards, and pull it through. And that's how you make a chain. As you can see, mine is loose because I'm using a 7mm crochet hook. I do also want to say that when I was first starting, I had a really bad habit, or I guess a beginner's habit, of making my chains too tight. And that can look like this when you yarn over as you do, pull your hook downwards and then you pull it through. But then when you're pulling it through, you tighten like that. And that's okay if you're a beginner, but in the future when we're working with other projects, the chain are the chains that we're going to be working into later. So you see that chain that I just made? I'm not going to be able to go back into that chain because of how tight it is. But these other chains that I kept loose and I kept with the flow of my crocheting, I can put my hook into them and I can work into them easy. But this one I'm not going to be able to. So that is just another thing that I wanted to say. I'm going to do 2 more times and then I will snip and we will move on to the next video. So hold your work, take your hook, bring it underneath our working yarn, turn your hook downwards, and pull it through. Move up, take your hook, bring it underneath your working yarn, turn your hook downwards, and pull it through. And that is how you make your chains. And then to finish off, you can just undo this and try keep practicing with your yarn. But if you want to finish off your project, then what you do is you take your scissors, you snip off some yarn, and then you just pull that yarn through. And then you can pull this tight, and then you can fasten it off at the top, and now your chain won't come undone. And that is how you make your chain stitch. I hope you enjoyed today's video, and I really hope you found it helpful. If you did, please let me know, and please subscribe. Feel free to if you want to. And the next video that I'll be showing in my beginner's tutorial series is how to do the single crochet stitch. So we've already learned how to do a slip knot. In this video I showed you how to do a chain. In the next video, next week, I will show you how to do the single crochet stitch, and hopefully after that I'll do the double crochet stitch. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed, and I hope to see you again soon. Bye!